Has Iran almost won this war against the United States? Looking at the developments in the past few hours, the reports that have emerged and the statements that have been made, it seems that despite putting in all their efforts, the United States and Israel are still far from achieving their war goals. After facing setbacks from Iran, it appears they now just want to exit the conflict somehow while saving face. U.S. President Donald Trump made a surprising statement that even shocked many of his supporters, saying that America's war with Iran is almost over. However, his own defense officials suggested the opposite, saying that this is only the beginning of the war. When reporters asked Trump for clarity, his response sounded confused and unclear. "I think it's the beginning of building a new country. But they certainly have no navy, no air force, and no leadership." In one sense, Trump wasn't lying. He implied that Iran supposedly lacks strong military capabilities or leadership. Yet the paradox is that the same Iran still appears to be challenging the United States effectively, which raises questions and embarrassment for Washington. Normally, a leader takes responsibility for his team's mistakes. But Trump instead seems to be shifting the blame for the decision to go to war onto others, suggesting he relied on advice from officials who believed Iran might attack the U.S. first. As Trump talks about ending the war and distancing himself from the decision, U.S. financial markets have started reacting positively. The Dow Jones Industrial Average and the Nasdaq Composite saw strong gains on Monday after Trump described the conflict as a short-term war and repeatedly insisted that it would not last long. Rising oil and gas prices around the world are also a concern, and while Trump may or may not understand many things deeply, he clearly understands the power of money and market. Critics argue that Trump has made many controversial decisions and statements, and that he frequently makes bold or contradictory claims, leading many to question the credibility of his remarks. Stop lying, man, have some shame. The whole world now knows that American Tomahawk missiles killed 170 Iranian girls. Yet Donald Trump keeps saying again and again, "We don't know. Don't ask me. It could be someone else's missile. It's being investigated right now." Someone should tell him that, except for the UK, Australia, Japan, and the Netherlands, no other country in the world even possesses Tomahawk missiles. Not even Israel has them. But Trump probably thought that if you repeat a lie 100 times, at least some people will believe it. Whether America has won or lost the war is still unclear, but one thing is obvious: America looks badly cornered. Much of the world is already frustrated with what they see as American arrogance. And it's also becoming clear that Donald Trump himself doesn't seem to know whether he wants to continue this war or exit it. At one moment Trump says the war is almost over and that America's goals have nearly been achieved. Then just a few hours later he posts on social media, perhaps after a couple of drinks, that the United States is going to launch 20 times more attacks on Iran to clear any blockage in the Strait of Hormuz. Meanwhile, Israel, which until yesterday was talking about setting Tehran on fire, now also seems unsure about its next move. The war appears to be slipping out of its control. Israeli officials are now telling the Washington Post that they don't want to escalate the conflict further, and are looking for an exit ramp for Israel and the United States these days. Exit ramp has become the new favorite phrase, replacing smart bombs. Before admitting defeat, by the way, they have tried every possible tactic. Trump's close ally Lindsey Graham even threatened the UAE, asking why they couldn't join the war against Iran or launch attacks on it when the US was supposedly doing so much for them. Israel also attempted some alleged false flag operations, which we discussed in a previous episode, trying to provoke anger inside Iran by bombing and blaming it on others. But that effort didn't work. The result: within just 10 days, the United States has found itself in a very tight situation. And this is despite the fact that Iran does not possess highly advanced military capabilities, has no strong ally openly backing it, and has had to fight this war largely alone from the very beginning. Just imagine if Russia, China, or any major Middle Eastern country had openly joined Iran in this conflict, what the situation for Israel and the United States might look like today. In today's episode, we will try to understand in detail why no country in the world has officially come forward to support Iran. No Muslim country has openly joined it either. China and Russia seem to be giving some support from behind the scenes, but they do not come out openly. Why is it that despite there being so many Muslim countries in the Middle East, Iran appears to be standing alone? What has Iran done that most Middle Eastern countries would rather side with Israel than with Iran? Why is it that despite being a civilization that goes back thousands of years, Iran today seems to be completely isolated? This is actually a very interesting story, and to understand it we need to look at some history and geography. Because all of this is connected to the current Iran-America conflict. Israel and the United States have long tried to ensure that the countries of the Middle East unite against Iran and confront it together. If these countries keep fighting among themselves, the United States and Israel can sell them large amounts of weapons and make huge profits. This idea isn't entirely unrealistic because many Middle Eastern countries view Iran with deep suspicion. Around the world, people often assume that all Muslim countries are basically the same and part of a kind of Muslim Brotherhood. Iran's name is often mentioned in the same sentence as Saudi Arabia or the UAE. So many people think they are all Arab countries with similar geography and lifestyles. However, long before Islam spread in this region, the land of Persia had extremely powerful empires. One of the most famous was the Achaemenid Empire, founded by Cyrus the Great in the 6th century BC. Its territory was enormous, stretching from the Indus Valley all the way to the Mediterranean Sea. Interestingly, even the name, Iran, comes from an ancient word that literally means land of the Aryans. So for thousands of years there has been a strong Persian civilization in this region. In the 7th century, Arab Muslim armies conquered Persia, and Islam gradually became dominant there. But one thing never changed: the Persian identity never disappeared. There is a clear difference between Persians and Arabs. Persians speak Persian, Farsi, while Arabs speak Arabic. Most Iranian Muslims are ethnically Persian, and only a small part of Iran's population identifies as Arab. Geographically, Iran lies in the Middle East, but historically, linguistically, and culturally it is Persian. Ethnicity and religion are two different things, and this difference plays an important role in politics, alliances, and how people perceive one another. I'll explain the rest step by step, because the story becomes quite complex from here. But this has a relevance to what we are discussing today. In Persia, there used to be great empires where kings ruled over organized systems of governance, large cities, infrastructure, art, culture, and law. In contrast, the Arabs historically lived in tribes. Most of them were nomadic or semi-nomadic, such as the Bedouins, living a harsh life of survival in the desert, which made them tougher and more resilient. Another very big difference became clearly visible to the world after the death of Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini. Iran is not just a Middle Eastern country, it is the stronghold of Shiism. Islam has two major sects, and Shiism is one of them. Its supreme leader was Ayatollah Khomeini. Just like the leader of Roman Catholics worldwide is the Pope, Christianity also has long-standing divisions such as Catholics and Protestants. In a similar way, tensions between Sunni and Shia Muslims have existed since 600 AD-C. The issue is very complex. But at a basic level, Sunnis believe that after the Prophet Muhammad, no human being possesses divine authority. The community can choose its leader. Shia Muslims, however, believe that the Shia Imams, descendants of the Prophet Muhammad, are divinely guided and cannot make mistakes. Over the last 1,400 years, both communities have largely lived alongside each other. Tensions exist, but they are often more visible between states than among ordinary people. Iran has used this divide strategically. In its foreign policy, it portrays itself as the protector of Shia Muslims around the world. Khomeini was not only the head of Iran, he was also seen as the supreme leader for Shia Muslims globally. This shows how strongly politics and religion influence each other. For centuries, Iran itself was mostly Sunni. That changed in the 16th century, not very long ago in historical terms, when Shiism was established as the main sect in Iran. This shift was also a political move. It helped Iran distinguish itself from its powerful Sunni rival, the Ottoman Empire, allowing political power to be consolidated internally. So that was a brief and very basic overview of the history. Now let's come to the